Hello, children. This is the new chapter which I'm going to begin, and this is class 9 political science first chapter. Again, a summary video, but yes, there will be all topics covered, so you can consider it and sit with pen, pencil, book always so that you can take notes. Okay, so let's begin. So, what is democracy? Why democracy? A new word, but we all are familiar with it. That what is democracy? Because in India, we know there is democratic government, and elections are nearby. So we all are aware that in democracy we have election system. So let's know more about it. Okay. So what is the simple definition of democracy? See, first of all, I would like to tell you that democracy is made with two words, demos and kratos or kratia. These are Greek words, and the meaning of these words are demos means the people, and kratos or kratia means the rule or power. So, simply, it is the rule or power of people to run the government. So, democracy is a form of government in which the rulers are elected by the people. Very clearly, it is written that rulers will be elected by the people. Let's understand it better. So, you can see there are many countries and in the world, and these all are claiming that they are democratic. But through this chapter, we will try to know if they all are democratic with some examples. Okay. So let's take our very dear neighbor country, that is Pakistan. So the picture of the person who is shown here is General Pervez Musharraf. Why Pakistan under General Musharraf should not be called a democracy? So we start from here because they also claim that they are democratic country. So let's begin with this. So in 1999, there was a military coup in Pakistan, which was led by General Pervez Musharraf. Now, what is the meaning of military coup? Military coup means that when the whole government is controlled by the military power. He became self-proclaimed chief executive of the country after uprooting democratically elected government. So what he did, he removed the government which was already there, and he became the chief executive of the country, which was not a designation in the government in Pakistan. He changed his designation, so he has to change that. So he changed his designation to president, and in 2002 held a referendum in the country that granted him 5-year extension. Now what is the meaning of referendum? Referendum means that taking people's consent on some matter, like we said that do we feel safe in India? So we will give people two options, yes or no. So that will be called as referendum. In the same way, in Pakistan, there was a referendum held. Now you will say that, ma'am, when there was a referendum, it should be like it should be taken as public's opinion. So that opinion was taken on the we can say on the point of gun, because they had the military power. So we cannot call it democratic. Now, after passing this law, elected representatives have some powers, but the final power rests with the military officers and General Pervez Musharraf himself. Because of these reasons, Pakistan under General Pervez Musharraf should not be called a democratic country, right? So when there is something done forcefully, or the decision which are taken by the government are not like completely we can say free, it is not the decision of the elected people, then it is not a democracy. In August 2002, he issued a legal framework order that amended the constitution of Pakistan. Yes, Pakistan also has a constitution. So according to this order, the president can dismiss the national or provincial assemblies. So the work of the civilian cabinet is supervised by a National Security Council, which is dominated by military officers. So basically the power of people was being controlled by military. So can we call it democracy now? No, we cannot. Now we'll talk about election. So first feature, if you take those whole thing, to consider as a feature. So it should be decision making in a government should be completely in the hand of the people who are elected by the people, or elected by the people. Then only we can consider it a democratic country. Now elections, what are elections? So when people vote and then they select their rulers or representative, it is known as election. Let's talk about it. So we have an example of China here, and there's the name of China's parliament in their own language, which is difficult to pronounce, but in our language or in English language it is National People's Congress. So it has 3,000 members, and they are elected from China. Like, they are also elected, but they belong to a single party, and that party is Chinese Communist Party. So you understand, see, when election happens, we should have multiple party, like where we can choose from. Like, we need to choose who is working good or who has the capability to work. So that's how we choose the choose an election. But if there is a single party system, how can we choose from that? So in China we have single party system which is practiced. Before contesting elections, a candidate needs the approval of the Chinese Communist Party, which is the single party over there. Only those who are members of Chinese Communist Party, or in that 8 smaller parties allied to it, were allowed to contest elections. So the power relies with that party only, that one party. The 8 parties also work under that party. So there is a single party system, and the government is always formed by the Communist Party of China, which is the single party over there. So again, we can say this is not a democratic system. Then we have Mexico's example. Let's consider if their election is democratic or not. So Mexico is a country in North America, and its capital, if you want to know, that is Mexico City. And China, I hope you all know that Beijing is the capital, Xi Jinping is the president now, and Pakistan's present prime minister has been changed. So I would like to know if you have the information. Please write in the comment section. Okay, now Mexico. So all those who were employed in the government, see, Mexico was freed from the colonial power, like the imperial power, in 1930. After that, they started contesting election. They considered themselves as the democratic country. So all those who were employed in the government offices had to attend the party meetings. So all the people, see, in India also, when there is an election, the vote, like the whole responsibility or duty of election is given to the government teachers, government employees. So in the same way it happens in Mexico. So they used to attend the party's meeting. Teachers of the government schools used to force parents to vote for PRI, which was again the party which had the domination. So PRI here is the institutional revolutionary party. So that was the party which was trying to force people in different way to vote to that party only. Media largely ignored the activities of opposition political parties except to criticize them. So basically the media was also in support of that PRI. So you have seen such condition like being discussed in our country also. If you follow the news, you will get to know that in India also it is claimed that certain news channels support our present government. Now let's take the example of Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia, you can see on the map, there the voting right was not given to the women until 2015 according to your book, and I checked now, so until 2022 women didn't get the voting right, but now they have. So they didn't get the voting right. So how can we say that everybody is having equal opportunity to choose their government? It's not there. So then we'll talk about Saudi Arabia is given, and the capital is Riyadh. You should know about it. Now next we have Estonia. Estonia is in Europe, and it is nearby Russia. So it has made its citizenship rules in such a way that the people belonging to Russian minority find it difficult to get the right to vote. It means, see, the Estonia's location, it is quite near Russia, and it is sharing boundary with Russia. So people from Russia migrate there, and they don't give the voting rights to those people. So it means everybody is not having voting right over there again. Next we have Fiji. So let's take the example of Fiji. And you can see in Fiji, the electoral system is that the vote of an indigenous Fiji has more value than of an Indian Fijian. So the people who shifted from India to Fiji, and now they became the member of that country, the citizen of that country, still their voting value is less than India, like Fiji. So Fiji people, Fijian. So that is how. So now if we go through one more, so here what it is trying to say, that one vote, one person, one value is not being taken seriously or considered. So it means the government is not democratic there, the system is not democratic there. Now let's talk about the government of Zimbabwe. So how is Zimbabwe government undemocratic and autocratic? Autocratic means the power when lies with only one person. Here there's one party which is ZANU PF. The party's name is ZANU PF, and the leader of that party was Robert Mugabe. So we'll be talking about it, but first of all you should know the location of Zimbabwe. It is in southern part of Africa, not South Africa. South Africa is completely a country. It is in southern part of Africa. And what is the capital of it? Harare. Okay, and now, so the party name is ZANU PF, and the member of the, okay, why it is known as ZANU PF? So party's name has been elaborated: Zimbabwe African National Union, which is Patriotic Front. So you should know the name of the party. Now Zimbabwe has been ruled by ZANU PF, the leader, the party that led the freedom struggle over there. So every country, like when they become the country at that time, they had like before that there was a struggle to attain that freedom, and same with our country also. So they had a struggle, and in that time ZANU PF was the party which supported it, which struggled a lot to bring the freedom for the country. So it's like in India we have Indian National Congress. So in that country it was ZANU PF. Its leader Robert Mugabe is popular but also uses unfair practices in election, which is not at all the feature of our democratic system. So Zimbabwe has been ruled by ZANU PF, the party that led the freedom struggle. Its leader was this, and this is Robert Mugabe. Over the years, his government has changed the constitution several times to increase the power of the president and make him less accountable. So, when the power is given or it is with one person, then what he will do, he will try to get more and more power if he is not thinking about the democratic system. So he did that, and the president, he increased the power of the president to that extent that he is now least accountable to the people. Like they see, if we have elected a leader, that elected leader should work for us, like the people, for their welfare. So if they're not doing such work, they should be answerable. As in India, there is the government answerable every time when it takes wrong decision. We start protesting, we show our discontentment. So that is how we make our government accountable. In democratic system, there the accountability was least. Opposition party workers are harassed and their meeting disrupted. So they were like, if the opposition party started like saying something in their criticism, they have been harassed. So that was happening. Public protest and demonstration against the government are declared illegal. So this is how it shows that the government was autocratic. There is a law that limits the right to criticize the president as well. So see, we cannot say anything. In India, you can say, you can see everybody, like everybody who is having social platform, they have the right to criticize the government, and in India it happens every time we see it. Okay, now if we have concluded with all the examples, what can we get, like what is the conclusion? So there are certain features of democracy which we could find. One, elected leaders make final decisions. Okay, and in Pakistan you saw that the person was not elected, even elected with the referendum, it was not fair election. So the power should be with the of decision making with the elected leaders. Second, elections must be free and fair. Free and fair, which was not in China, where, and Mexico also, where the people were forced to vote to a particular party. So it is not free and fair. Then in a democracy, each adult must have one vote, and each vote must have one value. So it is saying one vote, one person, one vote, one value, which was not found in three of the countries which discussed: Saudi Arabia, Estonia, and Fiji. Then a democratic government rules within the limits set by constitutional law and citizens' rights. So there should be rule of law in democratic country, which is written in the constitution somewhere, and everyone should follow it, whether it is the government leaders or the general citizen. And there should be some rights given to citizens which should be respected by the government. So these things are the feature of democratic government. Now, is the democracy very simple? No, it's not simple. We should understand that nowadays we are having a different kind of democracy, and there are two types of democracy, if you see. So first is direct democracy, in which we say people participate in decision making directly, right? So in which all the citizens of the country assemble in a place and directly take part in decision making. So do you think it's possible nowadays? Because every country is having a huge population and everybody cannot sit in the parliament, right? So that is the one thing. So direct democracy means where people can sit together and decide on a particular issue. And it happens in certain villages. Like if we talk about the local government, the third tier of our government system in India, so there is the third system. And in federalism you learned about it, that we have more than one level of the government. So the last level, which is called the root level government, there we find such type of direct democracy, where people sit together, gram panchayat and gram sabha, and they decide on certain issues. Now indirect democracy or representative democracy, which is now very common in the world, and in India also, in central government, in state government, we have representative democracy. In this type of democracy, people elect their representatives, and those elected representatives make major decisions. So the majority of the people rule through their elected representatives. So here you see, now elections are going to happen from 19 April to 1st June, and then you will see there, and the people will go to vote for certain seats. So in our parliament, in Lok Sabha, we have 543 seats. People elect 543 representatives, and they take decision on behalf of the whole country. Okay, now why democracy? We discussed the meaning of democracy, we discussed the origin of the word democracy, we discussed different features of democracy with example, and we discussed type of democracy. Now we should know why democracy, why not other form of the government which we have learned in previous classes, like monarchy, dictatorship, or any other form of aristocracy, any other form of government. Why? What are the arguments put forward against democracy? So first of all, people started talking about why democracy. Like in present time also, you see people saying, it is quite difficult now, people are getting corrupted, and every time there is an instability in the government, that government changes after 5 years. So these are kind of we can say argument against the democracy. Let's talk about it. Leaders keep changing in a democracy. This leads to instability. So we know after every regular interval there is an election. So in our country, after every 5 years, in USA after every 4 years, in other countries there are different time periods. So this is how the elected leaders are being changed after every regular interval, which creates a kind of instability, and people also cannot start trusting in the beginning also. So that's why it creates a kind of instability. They make certain programs, and till the time they implement it, enforce it, they have been changed. So there's a kind of instability, and they have to plan again if there is other government. Democracy is all about political competition and power play. There is no scope for morality. Yes, so when there is an election, people start speaking against other parties, they put some allegations on other parties, they trap them in some like issues, and then it happens every time. So to win election there is a competition, and that competition make people immoral, है they make them not following all the moral values, and there's a kind of chaos everywhere. So many people have to be consulted in a democracy that leads, okay, so many people have to be consulted in a democracy that it leads to delays. So we know that there is a, in 8th class you learned all these things, how to make a law, है so when there is an issue, first it has been discussed, then there is a committee made, then it presents its report, then it goes to like it becomes a bill, then it goes to Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, like discussions over that, then it goes to president, and in this whole process it takes a lot of time, that the law becomes irrelevant, or law does not solve the problem which it was raised for. So sometimes it happens, and this is not like correct. If we see, it leads to delay. Elected leaders do not know the best interest of people, it leads to bad decisions. Sometimes yes, we see there are certain peoples, like now if you see, many actor and actresses have been given the ticket to contest election in from their area, and now they don't know anything about election, they don't know anything about the development of their area, and they don't know the issues which that particular area people facing. So how would they solve them? So it leads to bad decision, of course. Democracy leads to corruption, for it is based on electoral competition. So where there will be a competition, people want to win, and if there is no morality, they will use everything, like they will try to win it by hook or crook. So there will be an electoral competition, and corruption will be created there. Corruption will be there. You see, many leaders have been arrested, and the electoral bond case which recently was there in so much of news. Ordinary people don't know what is good for them, and they should not decide anything. So yeah, we see in our country still there are illiterate people, and there are people who don't care about the world, what is happening. They care about their livelihood which they are earning with so much of struggle. So they can't take decision for the country. So yes, that is again a problem in democratic system. Now we discuss the problems, but there are certain things which makes the democratic system more relevant in present scenario. So what is that? Let's see it. A democratic government is a better government because it is a more accountable form of government. More accountable means, as I told you, they are answerable to us. If there will be any problem, they will take care of it. In China, if you take the example of China, there was a problem, the famine problem in 1958 to 61, and the government was not accountable. They didn't care about it. Still you see in China, in a recent time, pandemic happened and many people died. They didn't care about those millions of people who died, and even they hid the news. So that is the problem with the non-democratic type of government. And in India, see, if there is any problem, the government is active, they are taking decisions, they are trying to solve the problem. Although the problems are still there, they work for it. Democracy improves the quality of decision making by consulting various people and institutions. So when it is being discussed, the same point which we have taken as criticism of it, that can be a positive point also, that when we talk to many people, we discuss the problem with many people, we find a good solution. So that is one thing. Then democracy provides a method to deal with differences and conflicts. So when we talk about equality in democracy, we give chance to everyone to vote, we give chance to everyone to contest election. So in this way we try to cater the need of every diversity, like the diversity in the country, different region, geographical region, or whether the religious community, everything we are trying to see. In any society where people belong to different regions, speak different language, practice different religion, and have different caste, we are trying to cater the need of everyone. Democracy enhances the dignity of citizens by providing equality, fundamental rights, and freedom. Yes, we also see that in a democratic country, certain rights are given to the people, and they feel respectful in the society. So, in Indian Constitution, also in last class, you learned about democratic fundamental rights. There are 6 fundamental rights given to everyone, and those rights are also protected by one of the fundamental rights, which is the constitutional remedies, right to constitutional remedies. Okay, next we have democracy is better than other form of the government because it allows us to correct its own mistake. Yes, so if a government is not working well, is not taking care of the people, is not more answerable to the citizens, then what we can do, we can wait for 5 years and we can change the government and we can correct our mistake, right? Or if we cannot wait for 5 years, we can protest against them, we can criticize them, and we can force them, or we can force them to change their decisions which are not favorable. Okay, then now we will be discussing broader meaning of democracy. So as you see, nowadays democracy has two forms. One is direct democracy, another is representative democracy. Direct democracy means when the citizens, all the citizens of the country assemble in a place and directly take part in decision making. So nowadays it's not possible because first of all, the countries are not that small. The people in country, the population of the countries are huge. If we talk about India, you know it's 140 crores. So everybody cannot sit in parliament and take decision. So, but we see this type of democracy in smaller areas. Like we talk about the local government in the federalism system of India. We have multiple level of the government, more than one level of the government, and in the at the root level, which is the local level, there we find that Gram Sabha and Gram Panchayat sitting together and taking decision on certain issues. So that is happening in smaller areas. But what about the bigger countries, or the countries with huge population? There we have indirect democracy or representative democracy, in which people elect their representatives and those elected representatives make decisions on behalf of the whole country or the whole population. The majority of the people rule through their elected representatives. So we know that election happens and we choose 543 representatives, and then they take decision on our behalf. Thank you so much. This is how we completed the chapter. I hope you understood well, and if there is any doubt or you find some change in the explanation, you can just comment and tell me. And the students who have my personal number, they can call me, message me and tell me what changes is required. Thank you so much.